Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another tutorial. So we're going to do a little stitch basics here, and we're going to do flat herringbone. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what you can do with herringbone once you learn each type of herringbone. So this is a Let's Talk Herringbone video. Okay, so here's some flat herringbone, and that's what we're going to work on today. And I'm going to make a short video for each stitch. And so once you've learned the flat, then the tubular. Cool, very much fun, so much fun. Then we're going to twist it, and then we're going to make these little triangles that are so prevalent and so much fun to play with because they have a herringbone down the center and peyote. So you will have already have the how-to on peyote. Now you'll have the how-to on herringbone, and you'll be able to make all this stuff. So let's just start with the flat herringbone, because that's it's such a great stitch to know. And I think, for me, knowing these stitches, knowing every stitch is really important, because it gives you an opportunity to use that stitch in places that you might not think of it if you haven't learned how to do the stitches. And I'll just give you a quick example. So the pendant we made, I made a herringbone bail on this, and I was thinking, what do I do? How do I make a bail for this? And I happened to think that 2 little seed beads would fit through here, and then I thought, whoa, herringbone would make a nice bail. It's a really pretty, they have herringbone chains, so I thought it would make a really pretty bail. So things like that, if you know a stitch, you can think about, and you're designing something, and you think, well, what can I, do to make this nicer or to add something to it? You'll have these stitches in your head, and you'll know that you can use them, and it's just great. So herringbone starts with ladder stitch. So we've done ladder stitch before. We did it on tapestry bracelet. We did it on data night. So, but for those of you who haven't done it and beginners, we're going to start with ladder stitch. And I have some size 8 seed beads here. I've got a size 10 beading needle. I've got a little piece of Fireline, and I put a stop bead on it. So I'm going to take the 2 beads. I'm going to bring them down, okay, to the end of my thread. I'm just going to go up the first bead, okay, and then I'm going to give it a pull, and what that does is it seats those 2 beads next to each other. Then I'm going to come down the second bead, okay, so that's our first, and I'm going to pull a little for this just in case. I just really want you to see this. So we've got our first 2 beads on. So then pick up 1 seed bead and go down the next bead, and then go up the one you just put on. And this is, we've done ladder, and it's the base for for a bunch of stuff, so it's good to know it. Okay, so I've got 4 on. I'm going to do them in different colors so that you can see the columns in herringbone. Go through that bead, come up the one I just put on, pick up another one coming out of the top of that bead, just go through the bottom and then down the top again. Okay, so I've got 6, I'm just going to do 8. Seven. 8. So now I'm just going to go back through all my beads just with my needle and thread. I like to do this just to straighten out the row. It just makes it look a little bit nicer. Even though we're going to go through the beads again, I like to start off with a nice straight row. Okay, so there's our ladder stitch row. So I'm just going to turn it around this way because it's easier for me to sew in this direction. So now we're going to start the herringbone. So with herringbone, you're going to pick up 2 beads. You're going to come down the second bead in your row. And they're going to go on like that, and they're going to sit in a V shape, which is exactly what you want. Then you want to come up the next bead. Take 2 beads, come down the next bead, come up this bead. There you go. You have 2 your little V's on there. 2 beads, go down the next bead, and this works up so fast, especially if you use big beads. That's it. That's herringbone. Okay, we'll do our last 2, like so. Okay, so here's your first row. Easy enough, right? Okay, so I'm just going to flip it around so I can work back. So now I have to get up to here to add my next 2 beads on. So there are many ways of doing that. Or 3 ways I know of. You can go straight through, like so. What that does, it's going to leave a thread on your bead. See that? So that's going to be an open thread, which could probably get caught on things. And you know, it's I left it on day to night, and I'll just show you real quick. I didn't put anything on the side. I just left the thread. It really, tiny beads, it didn't show that much. I've worn that a lot, and it's, never caught on anything. So I'm not really worried about it. But there are other ways you can do this. So you can, if you're coming out of the bottom bead here, you can actually sew up through this bead, okay, like so. And you can go across the 2 top beads and then come out of this bead. Now that is one way of doing it so that your beads don't, so that the thread doesn't show around your beads. So let's go around. So here's your next 2, go up that one. Take your next 2, go down, just going down 1 bead. Just stacking V's on top of each other. Go up the next one. Take 2 more. Go down the next 2. Come up. Last one. Come down this bead. So that's it for herringbone, right? There you go. Just gonna turn it around. Now I'm going to show you another way of ending. So if you, what happens sometimes, and that's why I made these 2 pieces. So one piece is made with the thread showing here, and one piece is not. Now, it's hard to tell the difference, but if you really look at this end column of beads, it is no longer a V. It kind of slants down a little bit or just straightens the column out. Where when I let the thread show, I have all these V's that stay all in line, so everything is a V. Honestly, you really can't tell unless you probably would never be able to tell unless I, pointed it out. But if you don't want this particular column to have sort of this flattened out or straightened out beads, you can always take a bead before you go up and just put it there. We've done this on several projects, and that will cover the thread. Now I'm using these big old beads, and it's very, very noticeable. I could have pulled out some other pieces that you don't really see it, and it's a design. You can make it a design element, which is really nice. So you're taking your 2 beads, you're coming out of the top stack. Just go down. Sometimes you have to sort of play with them a little to get them to sit straight. Come up the next bead. Don't worry about it if it looks like it's fanning out. Herringbone it just does that, and then it all comes together. So don't worry about it. There you go, the next 2. So see how those are sitting a little bit strange. So just make sure you're sitting at a V. Okay, so there. Put on our last 2. Straighten those out a bit. Sometimes the thread twists a little bit. Make sure your threads are nice and straight. Pull that over. I can straighten it out on this side. There we go. Okay, so there you go. That's and then you're just going to start your next row. So either put a bead here, or as you did on the other side, or I'll do it one more time. You can go across. So you're coming out of this bead here. Just go through the second bead of the row underneath, like so. And what that does is you just lose the thread. It sucks right up there, and then come up through the first bead again, and then start again. As I said, it will straighten out the beads a little bit on the end, but I don't know that it will be. I don't usually do it this way, but it is a good way of doing it, and I don't think you're really gonna, you're going to see it depending on what you're making. Okay, so here we go. All right, so there you go. There's your herringbone, and there are 3 different ways to, you know, to cover the thread on the side. You know, one is the using a bead. The other is doing that little sort of weaving around and coming through, or just leaving the thread show. All right, so I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you do practice a lot of it. Grab some 8/0 seed beads and just, you know, make a bracelet. And you're going to keep going with that one and make a really pretty bracelet. So there you go. There you have it. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.